Hi guys, in this video I will show you how to add a Google login functionality. So here as you can see we are having a login with Google button, and if I click on this login with Google button, as you can see it is showing a login Google login pop-up, and in that pop-up it is showing all of my Gmail accounts. So if I click on any one of my Gmail account, it will redirect me to the home page. So in that home page as you can see it is showing me the name which I have given for my Google account and the email which is my email. And below that, we are having a logout button. And if I click on that logout button, it will log out the user and it will redirect to the login page. So if I click on this logout, as you can see, it has successfully redirected me to login page. So let's get started. So first of all, let's create a React project using Vite. So to create a React project using Vite, you have to simply enter this command npm create Vite. So after that, it is asking us to need to install the following packages. So simply enter Y and click on enter. After that, it will install it. And as you can see, it is asking us to name our project. So I'm going to name it as Firebase Authentication. After that, simply click on enter. And as you can see, after that, it is asking us to enter a library. So since we are going to use React, I'm going to select React and then click on enter. After that, I'm using JavaScript. So after that, as you can see, it is showing some list of commands to run our project. So first we need to go inside this folder which we have created. So simply copy that and enter here. Now we are in Firebase Authentication folder, and inside this you can simply enter npm I, which is short for install. After that, it will install all the packages which are required for our React project. So just wait. So now all the packages are successfully installed. So to run our project, you can simply use this command called npm run dev. So simply enter npm run dev. By using this command, you can able to run our project. So after entering that, as you can see, it is showing localhost 5173, and in that 5173 port number, our project is currently running. So simply go to Chrome and click on and enter localhost 5173. So as you can see here, we are getting this output which is coming from Vite by default. So now here, instead of this, let's add a button like login with Google. So before that, we need to enter our project. We need to open our project inside VS Code. So I'm stopping the server and simply enter code space dot. By using this command, you can able to open our project in VS Code. Now as you can see, our project is successfully opened in VS Code. So now let's rerun our server again by using npm run dev command. So now let's go to VS Code, and from here, so this output is, just wait. So this output is coming from this root file which is app.jsx. So whatever you write here, all that code will show up here. So by default, this app.jsx is our root file. So inside this, let me remove this. So now if I open Chrome again, as you can see, now we got an empty page. So here let's enter login with Google button. So inside this source folder, I'm going to create a folder with name components. And inside this components, let's create a component with name login.jsx. So first we need to export this component, otherwise you cannot able to use this component anyway. So let's name our function as login, and let's return a button with content login with Google. So now if I go to Chrome, as you can see, it is still showing an empty page because we have not imported our file inside our root component, which is app component. So here, let me import that login component. So after clicking on this, as you can see, it is automatically imported. So now let me close this. So if I open Chrome, now as you can see, it is showing output. So I want to integrate Google login authentication for this button. So after clicking on this login with Google, I want to show a pop-up, and in that pop-up, I want to show all the list of your other Gmail accounts. So for that, we need to use Firebase. So simply go to Chrome and enter Firebase. After that, simply visit firebase.google.com. After that, you will get an interface like this. So from here, simply click on go to console button. As you can see, after that, it is redirecting me to Google console. And here, as you can see, it is showing get started with the Firebase project. Simply click on this and let's enter a project name like Firebase Authentication. After that, we have to accept the terms and conditions and click on continue button. And click on continue button again and again. And here, accept the terms and conditions again and click on create project. Now it is preparing our project, so just wait. So now our Firebase project is ready. So now simply click on continue button. After that, it will redirect to our project dashboard page. So from here, as you can see, it is showing get started by adding Firebase to your app. Since we are going to integrate our Firebase authentication for our web app, we need to click on this button. So if you are building a iOS project, you can simply click on this, and if you are building Android app, you have to click on this. But I'm going to click on web because I'm going to integrate to the web app. So simply click on this web button. After that, it is asking us to enter a nickname for our app. So I'm going to name it as Firebase app. After that, I want to click this because I want to be hosted. It is asking us to whether we want Firebase hosting for our app or not. So I'm going to check this box and then click on register app. So just wait. So after that, we need to integrate Firebase software development kit inside our project. As you can see, it is asking us to install Firebase package inside our project. So simply copy this command. So our project name is, so we have to stop the server in order to install that package. So simply click on yes. Our project name is Firebase Authentication, right? Inside that, we need to install this Firebase package. So here I'm pasting the command which we have copied. So now click on enter. So now to see whether the packages is installed or not, you can simply able to see that inside our package.json file and inside this dependencies folder. As you can see, currently we are only having two packages which are came by default. Now after this Firebase package is installed, it will be added inside this dependencies object. So just wait. Firebase is getting installed inside our project. So now Firebase package is successfully installed. So to able to see to check whether Firebase package is installed or not, you can simply go to package.json. As you can see now, Firebase is added inside our dependencies property, which means Firebase is successfully installed inside our Firebase authentication folder. Now we can able to use Firebase. So now after that, as you can see, we are also having some configurations here. So all this API key, auth domain, project ID, all these are required in order to integrate Firebase authentication for our project. So this API key, auth domain, project ID, all are unique for every app. So simply copy this. So you need to copy our own apps configurations. You should not enter these things which are only unique for my project. So simply copy this, and inside the source folder, I'm going to create a folder with name Firebase configurations, and simply click on enter. Now inside this, let's create a file with name config.js, and inside this, let's paste this code. So now let's go to Firebase website again and simply click on next. After that, we have to install this Firebase tools in order to use all the built-in functions which are provided inside this Firebase package. So as you can see here, to host your site, it is saying to host your site with Firebase hosting, you need the Firebase CLI. So simply copy this command and paste it here. Now Firebase tools will be installed inside our computer, not only inside this Firebase authentication folder, because here we are entering -g, which is short for global, which means this Firebase tools package will globally installed, which means in our computer, not only inside this Firebase authentication folder. So just wait, it is getting installed. So now Firebase tools package is successfully installed. After that, let's rerun our server again by using npm rundev command. So after that, let's visit our Firebase project again and simply click on next. And from here, for now, we don't need this. I will explain you about these things after later. So now simply click on this continue to the console button. After that, as you can see, it is showing like this. We are having one app with name Firebase app. So simply go to settings, and from here, as you can see, we are having all the details of our app. So from here, we need to click on this project overview and click on this authentication button. And from here, sorry, let me go to back. Click on this app. Okay, click on this authentication button. And from here, simply click on get started. So here, as you can see, we are having some 6 sections: users, sign-in methods, templates, usage, and our app settings. So from here, inside this users, so all the users from here, if I click on this login with Google button, currently it will not show anything, but after some time we are going to add functionality. So from here, currently we don't have users because we have not logged in. So we are going to display some list of users here later. So first, go to this sign on method button. Click on this sign in method button, and from here, since we are going to add Google provider for our project, simply click on this Google button. After that, we have to enable this in order to use this. So simply enable this, and let me select my email here, and then click on save button. After that, we can able to use Google provider for our app, for our Firebase app. Just wait. So now Google is successfully enabled. That means we can able to use this Google provider for our project. So now let's go to VS Code. From here, we don't need this analytics. So we don't need this get analytics function as well. Also remove these comments and this one as well. So now we have to use a function called getAuth. And let me store this inside a variable called auth. So inside this getAuth function, we have to pass this app variable because so this getAuth function will return us the user details, which he or she is logged in with their Google account. So if you are login with their Google account, all those details are written inside this getAuth function. So inside this getAuth function, we need to provide our Firebase configuration details, which are initialized and stored inside this app variable. So I need to pass this app variable inside this getAuth function. So as you can see, getAuth function is not automatically imported, so we have to import that manually. Get auth. As you can see, after clicking on this, it is imported from this Firebase /auth. So from this package, we got this function. So after that, we also need. So let me create a variable with name Google Provider. Since we are using Google Provider, we have to use Google Provider by using this Google Auth Provider class. So this Google Auth Provider is a class which is inside this Firebase package. So this is a class name. We have to get an instance by using new keyword. So now an instance is getting it will create and it will be stored inside this Google provider variable. So we need these variables in all our components. So to use these variables inside another components, we need to export these things, right? So inside this, so before this, we have to add this export statement for all the variables. Let me copy this and paste it here and here as well. So now let's go to our login component. So from here, after user clicks on this login with Google button, we need to show a pop-up with a list of the user Google accounts. So for that, here let me add an event learner which is on click, and on clicking this function, I'm going to call this sign in function. So let's define this sign in function here. Function sign in, and inside this, I'm going to use a function called sign in with pop-up. Sign in with pop-up. So by using this function, we can able to show a pop-up with a list of user Google accounts. So this is a function, and we have to add parentheses here. As you can see, sign in with pop-up function is successfully imported from this Firebase package. So this sign in with pop-up function will return as a promise. So we need to await this by using await keyword. Since we are using await, we have to make this function as asynchronous. So I hope you guys know about this async await. Otherwise, you cannot able to understand what this means. So now we are successfully calling sign in with pop-up function. So now, if I click on this login with Google button, as you can see, nothing is getting happened. Let me see what's the issue. So let me click on inspect and go to console to see what the error is. So as you can see, it is showing cannot read properties of reading app at sign in login.jsx. So we are getting an error inside our login.jsx file. Okay, for this sign in with pop-up variable, we need to pass two parameters, which are this auth to get list of user Google account details, and this Google provider to trigger Google pop-up. So here inside this sign in with pop-up function, we have to first get this auth from this Firebase configuration folder inside this config, and then we also need to pass Google provider variable. So now if I click on login with Google button again, now as you can see, it is showing us the pop-up. So let me click on this login with Google again. Now as you can see, it is showing a pop-up with list of my Google accounts. So now let me show you what this auth variable does. So here let me add a console statement with some string return data getting received from getAuth function, and then let's add the second parameter variable which is auth. So now let me go to console So let me refresh this here. So now as you can see, the data which is getting received from getAuth function is this one. As you can see, we are having so many properties and each will serve different purposes. So all the user details will be stored inside a property called current user, which is here, as you can see. So currently, as you can see, the current user is null because we have not logged in with any of the Google account. So now let me click on this again. So here, let me click on login with Google button, and from here, let me select my Gmail. So if I click on my Gmail and click on continue button, now I have successfully logged in. So if I click on refresh, and here inside the current user property, as you can see, now we got some data instead of null. Now we are getting data because I have logged in with my account. So and inside the current user, as you can see, we are having some properties like display name, and inside that property, it will it will return us the name which we have for our Google account, and inside the email field it will show email, and inside the phone number it will show phone number, and inside this photo URL it will give us the path of the user Gmail profile. So whatever profile we have added for your Google account, that image path will be stored inside this photo URL property. So now we are going to display the name, email, and the photo of the user Google account after user clicks on this login with Google button. So for that, we need to add some routing. So currently, after clicking on this login with Google button, it will show the pop-up, and from the pop-up, if we click on any of our Gmail account, it will just stay in this space only because we have not added any routing. Like after user logged in, we need to redirect the user to the home page, right? But currently, we are not having any of the pages. So for that, we need routing. So to implement routing functionality for our project, we need a package called React Router DOM. So in order to use that, we need to install that package. So let me stop the server and let's install by using npm I command and then React Router DOM. React Router DOM. So simply click on enter. After that, it will install React Router DOM package. So now it is successfully installed. So if you want to check, you can simply go to package.json file, and under the dependencies property, as you can see, we got React Router DOM. Now we can able to use this inside our project. So now let's run our server again. npm run dev. So now our server is started again. Let's go to VS Code. So inside our root component, which is app.jsx, let me remove the state variable. We don't need this. So here, let me remove this login component as well. And so now let me remove. So let's import some components from React Router DOM. So let me add browser router, which is a parent component for all our routes. So I'm going to give a name as routes router. So and then we need another component called routes and then route. So by using these three components, we can able to add routing functionality for our project. So here, let me remove this and let's enter router, which is a parent component for all our routes. And then inside this router, we have to use routes. And then for every component, we have one route. So for every route, we have to add a path, right? So I'm going to add a path and then as an forward slash. So by default, if we enter this localhost 5173, the entry point will be this path. So when the path is this, I want to display our login component. So for that, we need to use a prop called element. And inside this element prop, we have to import the component that we want to render when the path is this one. Since I want to use login component here, I'm going to add login here. And then now if I see the output, it will resolve the error. Now as you can see, we got the login with Google button. So after clicking on this login with Google and selecting Google account, we need to redirect the user to home page, right? But currently we are not having any component like home, right? So let's create a component with name home.jsx, and inside this, let's create a function with name home. And inside this, for now, let's display. Let's add a p tag with name from hi from homepage. Welcome to homepage. Welcome to homepage. So now let's show this component when the route is home. So here, let's add another route to display our home component. So let's enter path prop, and inside this, I'm going to add a forward slash home. So when the path is forward slash home, I'm going to display my home component. So inside this element prop, let's import our home component. So after clicking on this, as you can see, React automatically imported this home component. So now inside our login component, so here after other clicks on this login with Google button, it will call this sign in function, and inside that, as you can see, we are showing the pop-up using this sign in with pop-up function, which is provided by Google. So once you other, so this will, so after this function is executed, we need to redirect the user to this home page, right? This home page. So for that, we need some navigation. So for that, we have a package called use navigation hook. By using that, we can able to navigate the user to different pages. So here, simply use navigate hook, and inside. So let's store this use navigate hook inside a variable called navigate. So now we can able to use this variable and navigate the user to a different path. So once user selects the Gmail account, we need to redirect the user to this home page, right? So inside this, simply add this navigate variable. So inside this, we have to pass the route that we want to redirect. So the route of home component is this one, right? Like path. So we need to add this here. So let's click on home. So now if I go to Chrome again and click on this login with Google button, and let me enter my Gmail account. After that, it will redirect us to home page. So now as you can see, the path is changed from localhost 5173 to localhost 5173 forward slash home. And if the path is home, we are showing our home page, right? Welcome to home page, which is coming from this home component. So now instead of welcome to home page button, let's display the user name and user email and user URL. So here, let's add a div tag. So if we display more than one HTML tags, we need to wrap them inside a parent component. So here, let me remove this, and here, let's enter a paragraph tag. Here, I'm going to display user name, and here we need to display username, right? So let me go to console. So all our user details are stored inside our this function, right? So this object, and inside this object we are having a property called current user. So this object is coming from our auth variable, right? This one auth variable. So we need to use this auth variable. So inside our home component, let's use auth. So before using them, we need to import this. So if I click on this, as you can see, React automatically imported, VS Code automatically imported our auth function from this folder. So auth is an object, right? And our user details are stored inside our current user property. So to access this property, we need to use auth dot current user, right? And inside this current user, the name of the user is stored inside this display name property, right? So I need to add that dot display name. So now if I go to Google, here as you can see, now we got the name. So below this, let's add this email as well. So for that, simply copy this and paste it here. So instead of user name, here let's enter email. And here auth.current.user email. Instead of display name, we need to enter email. So now we will get email as well. See here we got email. So now below this email, let's add a button with name logout. So now I want to add a logout button, and if user clicks on that logout button, I want to redirect the user to login page. So let's add a logout button here. Below this, let's add a button with name logout. So after clicking on this logout button, I want to log out the user and redirect the user to login page. So here I need to add an event learner which is on click. On clicking this, I want to call this logout function. So let's define this logout function. Function logout. And then inside this, so to log out the user, we have a built-in function called signout, which will be available inside this Firebase package. So now as you can see, VS Code automatically imports signout from this Firebase package. So this is a function and which will return us a promise. So in order to handle the promises, we need to await this signout function. So since we have used await, we need to make this function as asynchronous. So after user clicks on this sign out button, we need to log out the user and we need to redirect the user to login component. It means we need to redirect the user to login page, right? So for that we need navigation. So to handle with navigations, we need to import this use navigation hook, and let's store this use navigate hook inside a variable called navigate. So after user signed out, we need to navigate the user to login page. So here we need to pass the path which will display our login component. So this login component will be displayed when the path is this one. So we need to pass this path inside this navigate function. So now let me click on logout. So if I click on this, as you can see, it is not getting redirected to login piece. That means we made some errors. Let me click on console. So it is saying cannot read properties of undefined reading sign out. Sign out here. Okay, we are calling the sign out method here, but as you can see, we are not passing anything inside this sign out function. So we need to pass the user details. So all our user details are stored inside our getAuth function, right? And we are calling the getAuth function inside this auth variable. So we need to pass this auth variable inside this sign out function as a parameter. So simply enter auth. So now it will know which user should log out. So now if I click on logout button again, let me close the developer tools. Now if I click on this logout button, it will log out the user and it will also redirect the user to login page. So if I click on this, now as you can see, it is successfully logged out the user. Now if I open console again and if I see this, the current user will be null now. As you can see, the current user is null because no user is currently logged in. But if user clicks on this login with Google button and select the Gmail account, again this null value will be replaced with the value from which the user logged in with their Gmail account. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys will understand this Firebase concept. So thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.